Today I have a tutorial to talk about brand guidelines, what they are, why they're needed, who uses them. Brand guidelines are used by companies of all sizes to reinforce a brand standard. So pretty much any large company you can think of would have a need for brand guidelines. I just did a Google search for big brands, and you can see some of the ones that I would say have some pretty comprehensive guidelines would include companies like Google, Starbucks, Apple, big car manufacturers, big beverage companies, big luxury good type companies, fast food companies, social media, all have brand guidelines. In fact, I could do a search for example here. I'll do a search for Google brand guidelines. They have it on public, I think, display, because I know I've looked at these before. For example, they'll outline colors that would need to be used in a brand, clear space around a brand, proper and improper handling of the brand, partner brands, sub-brands, brand colors, and tell you the breakdowns for print and digital. So anyway, that gives you kind of an idea. A lot of these larger companies, you would need permission to actually download their brand guideline documents, or sometimes it's available on a password protected site, and so you would need somebody to allow you access. But in general, brand guidelines address essential elements like identity, logos, color breakdowns, usually for every profile, print and digital, CMYK, PMS, spot colors, if they're used, digital breakdowns like hex and RGB, clear space, which here the clear space around the logo, for example, address, any kind of information can't come within a certain distance, and in this case it's equal to or greater than the height of the G in Google, so that is the clear space. It also addresses things like imagery, for example, a type of image it'll address, the tone of the image, colors, acceptable effects. For example, they would say that you couldn't use like a sepia tone or something, or a gray. It would need to be certain colors, certain positions of the people. For example, I know I worked on some brand guidelines that said that we're supposed to really show the person's face, which seems a little odd, but it was all about people doing things. And then the brand elements, it'll outline the brand elements, for example, all this basic essential details about the logo, etc. And then it will show how to apply the brand to different sample layouts of all types, including print media, brochures, stationery, annual reports, print advertisements, etc. And all digital assets, including social media, websites, email campaigns, banner ads, advertisements. But overall, the company expectations would vary depending upon the brand. So some guidelines are more loose, leaving room for designer interpretation, and some big brands like Google, etc., Starbucks. So just depending on the size of the brand and really actually the public exposure to the brand would indicate how restrictive the brand guidelines are and how detailed they are as far as the type of materials that are addressed. I've worked with brand guidelines for smaller companies where actually the only rule is to stay within a particular set of color profiles. So it just gives you the vector art for the logo color and black and white, or reverse, which is white on black, and it just gives the color breakdowns. And since the company is either a startup or smaller, they just will review the materials on a case-by-case basis. Other larger brands with more comprehensive guidelines I've seen where they outline every possible marketing piece or scenario. So if it's not specifically addressed, then the designer just tries to stay within, not draw too far outside the lines. Other brand guidelines that I've seen and worked with are for NFL, MLB sports teams, and actually they don't really leave much room for interpretation at all. Very specific regarding imagery, colors, placement of elements, of course fonts. So that's my tip for today. I hope this is helpful. Please like, subscribe, leave a comment on your way out. Thanks for watching.